Okay, so we are here in Boombalattis and arguably the best ice cream in Wilmington. I told you guys, we are coming from Blueberries. We just did a podcast over there. And we said, we're going to Boombalattis next. And they're like, and Anne's like, do you guys know them? They're like, do we? They're like, they know what I want as soon as I walk in. So you guys are extremely popular. And Wes, you and I talked about a year ago. This is an idea like we wanted to do. So we've sat on it for a year, but we're so happy to be here interviewing you guys. So let's do intros real quick. So we'll get Wes and then Kristen and we'll go from there.
Sure. So my name's Wes Bechtel. I'm one half of the Boombalattis ownership here in Wilmington.
Nice.
And I'm Kristen Bechtel, the other half of Boombalattis.
Now, you guys purchased this business, and had you ever owned a business before? Did you know anything about ice cream before this?
Good.
I mean, we had business, no. We knew I do ice cream. I've been eating it my entire life, so I knew it was the best food in the entire world. I started making it in college for friends from watching Food Network.
No way.
Never thought it would be a future career, but then we both were working jobs that we were just kind of done with, right?
Were they in the food industry?
Done with, yeah.
No. Phones.
Wait, food history? Yeah, for sure. I had food history. You didn't have.
No, were there any, the jobs in the food industry?
Oh, yeah. I've always worked with food.
Oh, okay.
But then when I graduated from college, I was like, oh, I need to get a real job. You know, I'd been a waitress. I'd done catering with my mom. I'd been a helper for a wedding planner for an event business. But then I was like, I can't do this forever. I have to like get a degree. So I went to school for English and pre-law, and so I was a paralegal for 15 years, which 10 out of 10 do not recommend.
Yeah.
Not a fun job.
That's a good
Neither of us were very happy when we got home. And we couldn't tell stories about work because she would tell me all this court stuff. I'm like, I don't know any of what is a tort reform. It doesn't make any sense.
Tort itself.
So now we just talk about like syrups and Oreos all the time.
Yeah, it's much more fun.
So then tell me about how you decided to you looked at this opportunity, you're like, why not? I mean, that's a pretty big decision.
Yeah, well, I mean, Wes had just gotten his MBA at Verizon, and he had to do a project that was a business, and it was an ice cream shop. And we had toyed with the idea of opening our own shop, but our kids were little, and we had great insurance through his company at the time. And we're like, that's a big risk because our kids were 3 and 6 at the time. They're still really
that's
little.
That's ours right now.
Oh, yeah, that's, you're still kind of in the thick of it, and you're like, well, do we really want to risk all of our livelihood to start our own business? But then we found out Boombalattis was I found out it was for sale, and I didn't tell Wes for a while because I knew if I told him, he was going to say, let's go.
You were that ready to jump?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what happened. The moment she said, I mean, I was up all night. I was Googling stuff, trying to figure out just anything I could find out.
How do you buy a business with no money?
Yeah. I mean, it was looking back on it. You guys have kids. It's probably like when you look back and you're like, how did we survive the first 6 months? Like, you don't even remember how you got through it. Yeah. It was kind of like that. How did we buy a bit? Like, we emailed a broker, and then he was like sending us information. And then at one point he was like, well, do you have a broker? And I'm like, Googling, what is a broker? Because we did it. So then we went out and found a broker. And it turns out they work for free. They get a percentage of the sales commission. So like, it was dumb to not have one, but took all this work to figure out how to do it. It took 6 months to negotiate.
Wow.
So we started in January with the hope of like in March going into it. And then it was June 8th before we signed the paperwork.
Is peak ice cream season.
Yes.
Not recommended to buy and open an ice cream shop in June, but we did.
Yeah. The first time I scooped an ice cream, like with a real scoop out of a real bucket, like I was the owner of an ice cream shop. Like I had never done that before. I was like, oh, this is harder than it looks.
Yeah.
While somebody's looking at me like, do you know what you're doing? So, no.
At any time during that 6 months where you're like, what are we doing? Like, forget it.
Oh yeah. Like every other day.
It was super stressful. I mean, we were still relatively young. We didn't have savings. So we had no money. So we had to go to 2 different banks, and one was an internet bank that was like, we'll give money to anybody, just to like cover the purchase price. And then I remember in the first week we had to buy cups, and at the time we were buying like, I don't know, 500 cups at a time. And the shipping was like $200. And I was used to Amazon Prime. So I was like, $200 to ship something? I don't even have. So that's when you get your first credit card.
Oh man.
So it was not, there was a lot of times when it was like, okay, so we don't have a 401k or health insurance anymore, and we're broke, and I don't know how to scoop an ice cream cone.
Right. Literally, this cannot fail because this is it. And if we have to sell it,
burn the ships. Yeah.
Right,
Totally.
Yeah.
There were many times where he'd work like open to, well, we would do renovations because the shop needed major updating. We wanted to renovate the brand or redo the brand and renovate the shop. So we would do that in the morning before we open at noon. And then one of us would work till 5. The other one would meet with the kids. We would eat dinner at the shop, switch out, and then one would take the kids home. And the other one would stay,
Wow.
unless we ran out of ice cream, which started to happen. And then someone would have to stay till like 4 in the morning and make all the ice cream for the next day. And so, yeah, a lot of times when I would get home, I would just be like, this was a really bad idea. And then the next morning, halfway through the day, you'd be like, this is great. You know, very much like a newborn baby. Some days you're like, oh, this is so lovely. And other days you're like, this is the worst idea. Why did we think this was going to
Before I give this to Ann, I just want to say, like, this is exactly why we're doing this. Like, those stories, because we're living it. You've lived it. A lot of people live it. And that's what we love about all these small businesses in Wilmington. But I love hearing the transparency about it because people need to know that kind of stuff before they get into it.
Yeah.
I will say though, at the same time, it was super stressful. We were losing sleep. Things were crazy. But for me personally, it was like the best thing.
Yeah.
Like I struggled in corporate America and I didn't realize it at the time, but I can't do the same thing every day. And some people thrive in that environment, but I did not. And I didn't know why. And they're like, you know, I'd come in on a Tuesday. What do you want me to do today? And they're like, the exact same thing you did yesterday, which is the exact thing you'll do tomorrow.
Yeah.
And also, like, when you work for someone else or you work in corporate America, you're very boxed into what you can do. And Wes had a lot of visions of ways he thought he could help where he was working. And it was always, well, we can't do that, or we can't change that, or you have to jump through this red tape to actually facilitate that to happen. And when it's your own business, it's like, it's yours. You make the decisions. And then also, though, when things go well, you reap the benefits, which has been really
100%.
fun
Yeah.
as well.
I think Wes and Rich are very similar. He had a very similar background, and I identified because he's like, I just don't, these people, I just need to work for a different company. I need to work for different people and better people. And I was like, no, he always told me he wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I was like, what? Why would you do that? Well, I don't understand why anybody would do this like a long time ago. And then I started to see, I was like, I get it now. I was like, you cannot work for anyone, because it was the same thing. Like, he was like, but I have all these ideas and they are right and they're going to make it so much better. It's like, they probably will. But when you're working at a large corporation where if you go through 100 levels to make the change, you can't. I was like, it's like, you cannot make that change. He's like, but it's right. I was like, but you cannot do that. And that's why you're going to have to run your own company, because then you can make every change you want to, and then you'll be happy, but you won't be happy until you can do those changes yourself. So even though it is painful, because when you make mistakes, then you have to deal with the consequences, and there's nobody there to save you but yourself. At least you can make that decision, and you can correct it, and you can make those things. So that's awesome.
One of this, there's a photographer who I used to follow religiously, and I met him at a conference, and I said, would you ever go back? Like, if things really went south, would you ever go back to working? He's like, I'm unemployable. He's like, I'd rather be homeless than go. And I'm like, I'll never forget that. And I'm like, I completely understand. Now I understand. Then I was like, what are you talking about? But
I can't even fathom
imagine.
it. It's the thing, like, people are like, how long have you had the business? And it's like, in one breath, it feels like we've had it forever, because it's hard to recall life without it. But the other, it's so fresh still. But if I really think through, like, what did my life look like back then? It's like, man, I'd park in the parking lot and have to, like, prep myself to walk in the door. Just like, come on, Wes, just 7,000 more days, then you can retire. You can do it.
Yeah, it's 100% worth it. We'd never go back. It's been really, I mean, it's ice cream. It's it's so fun.
More needs to be said.
Yeah.
So when did you feel like you got your feet underneath you and you're like, okay, I think we kind of got how to make the budget work and how to run and how to scoop things right, and like we kind of got a system? How long do you think it took you before you're kind of like, I think we kind of got it going here, and maybe we'll think about another location as well?
That's huge.
I think, I mean, looking back on it, there were like the first 2 or 3 days where every single friend, family member, neighbor came in and got ice cream. Some of them came in twice, and it was like, okay. But like, the fear is on days 4, 5, and 6, if your friends and family don't come in and no one else comes in, like, you're done. And then days 4, 5, and 6, it was like just as many people and we were kind of known for taking a shop that didn't have very good service and coming in and having like fanatical service. And so we would see people in line. Like, the best was the previous owners didn't allow samples. So somebody would ask for, hey, can I try the chocolate fudge brownie? And somebody in the back would be like, they're going to say no. And we'd be like, yeah, of course. And it would like blow people's mind
Wow.
that had it. They didn't know
Simple.
that we changed it. And
Yep.
Yeah, you would see people like getting their kids ready. They're like, no, don't ask for a sample. Just
Really?
know what you
Don't
want
make
when
eye
you get up
contact.
there. And we're like, oh, no, they can have a sample. And people were like, what is happening in here? That was fun.
so that I think was when things sort of became real. Like people, not only do people we know come, but people we've never met before
Yeah.
are coming and telling us how much more enjoyable it is.
But I mean, we didn't get our feet underneath us though, like she was asking to. I mean, that was great, but to the end of that summer, I don't feel like through the whole summer we were just like
Sprinting.
punching the clock, like
Yeah.
dead out, trying to figure things out. But at the end of the summer, I believe it was the first summer, we had met a girl randomly one night when we left work and we were exhausted and we went to get a beer to talk about like, are we going to survive? And we met this girl and we ended up hiring her.
She was the bartender.
Yeah, she was the bartender.
Overhearing us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, wait, what do y'all, we're like, we bought this ice cream shop. We don't know what we're doing. We're
Yeah.
exhausted. We have little kids, and so we end up hiring her. We promoted her into a manager position. And I remember we took a Saturday off and we took our kids to a water park and we were sitting there and we were like, oh my gosh, like we've made it.
Yeah.
Here we are. We're sitting here like in the sun. Our kids are playing in this water.
Yeah.
So that for me was like the first step towards.
Yeah, like a true operator.
Right, because when we bought the place, they didn't have any employees, so we had to
Oh,
hire
man.
an entire staff and train a staff, and they would come in the back and be like, "The soft serve machine's broken. What do we do?" We're like, "Oh, we don't know. Well,
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
try to fix it, but we literally have no idea."
What did we do to the soft serve machine?
We sold it.
To a frat house.
That's
for
a perfect
$100.
segue. I mean, that's a perfect segue. So, like, if you're listening, then I'm telling you some of the things I see on the sign. So, like, lemon elderflower, blueberry basil, Vietnamese coffee. That's vegan stuff. Honey lavender.
Yeah, those are all really fun.
I mean, there's some very unique flavors here. And today happens to be Cinco de Mayo, which you guys got a big special going on. But the flavors
Yes.
are part of the allure for us. I could tell you. I mean, you were not thrilled when I was like, oh, I forgot about the Christmas something. And you're like, what? They have all these flavors or whatever. I want to go. But talk to us about coming up with that. So you rebranded and maybe you're expanding, but the real power is the difference. You keeping
You
it
gotta have
fresh.
good ice cream if you want people to come in.
Yep.
Sure, yeah. Well, do you want to speak to that, or do you want me to go first?
Go for it.
I think
You're
that
the foodie.
yeah, I think that we've always we both have always loved cooking. We love food. We love trying new places, local places. And so if we go somewhere, we always will seek out a place that has something local or different. And so anytime we eat something at a restaurant that is delicious, we're like, or I'm like most of the time, Wes too, but I'm like, how can I make this into an ice cream flavor? You mentioned Vietnamese coffee. That one came because we'd gone to Indochine one night and we got
yeah.
a Thai shaken coffee there that was delicious. And I was like, this already is so sweet. It tastes like ice cream. And I had a girlfriend that was vegan and she's like, that's a great one that you could make vegan super easy. Just you could base it from the coconut milk. So I was like, great. So that's how that one came. So we take
Nice.
a lot of inspiration from food that we eat places.
Sure. Like Cinco de Mayo pack has a sweet corn cake with prickly pear jam. It's only available in the pint pack, only available today. But,
Yeah.
but that's influenced from Que Bueno that was next door to us. That
Okay.
was Los Olas before that. That was one of their sides is a sweet corn cake
Yeah.
with this jam on the side. And
Yeah.
so when we're thinking of like what are the flavors of Mexico that inspire us, that was a flavor of Mexico that inspired them, which inspired us. So
And then my favorite ice cream flavor ever is cannoli. I mean, that one is
Yum.
my aunt used to make homemade cannoli. And so the ice cream base is based off her cannoli filling recipe.
Can you tell me, just out of curiosity, can you tell me one that you tried that you're like, never again, that was the
yes,
worst
of course.
idea?
Please tell them
the
Wes.
only one really, so we made a sriracha fudge swirl. Sriracha is still awesome, but that's when sriracha was like the height of its popularity. I think the issue is, and we actually did it on April Fool's Day, the 1st April. So this is like 8-9 months into us having the business. We hadn't fully caught on yet to the public. So I think if we did it today, there'd be more adventurous
Yeah.
people that would come in. And because we did it on April Fool's, I think everyone thought it was a joke.
Oh,
But
man.
it wasn't. It was still good.
And
But the lesson there was if there's no point to make 3 gallons of ice cream if people aren't going to buy it. Like
True.
the last thing you want to do is have it sit around. We want our ice cream to be super fresh or not sell it. So
Yeah.
that was the lesson of we can be super creative, but it has to have a person who will buy it.
Right, and oddly enough, someone bought something else. Someone bought a chocolate peanut butter pint, and our staff actually gave her the chocolate sriracha by accident, and she called like flipping out. She's like, "I don't know what happened to this ice cream you sold me, but it does not taste like peanut butter, and it's burning my mouth." And we're like, "What are you talking about?" And then we realized, and it was on April Fool's. So at first I was like, "Is she pranking us? Like, what is happening here?"
Yeah.
We pranked her
but
without knowing it.
yeah, but that kind of ties into one of the other reasons I feel like we've kind of turned Boombalattis around when he's talking about, you have to know what people are going to buy is social media. I mean, we've totally rebranded and then created a brand for ourselves on social media, and using that and getting our stuff in front of people has really changed the whole game.
For sure.
So this was something I was talking about with you guys earlier, is I do think Boombalattis has such a brand, and the stickers have become, in my mind, iconic. Like, I just think I see them all over the place. People, it's like a point of pride, I think, for Wilmington to have a Boombalattis sticker. And the creative team and designers, I was saying, they're just amazing. And so is the creative side and the marketing side, was that kind of driven by you guys? Or do you have like a really awesome marketer that you work with?
Well, we do, but Wes is the main marketer. That's always been his love.
That's been my favorite. Branding and marketing. I love color palettes and font choices and typography and all of that. And so, so immediately, day one, we had this logo. In fact, fun fact, before Boombalattis, our goal was a pie and ice cream shop. And so the heart logo was a ice cream cone with a slice of pie. And then when we figured out we're going to buy an ice cream shop instead of start our own thing, we literally just flipped the ice cream cone. So that's why it's a mirror image. I mean, it was that simple, but we saw it and we're like, that's iconic.
Yes.
I mean, the goal for any brand is to be like a Nike or a Starbucks.
Yeah.
You don't even need to say Starbucks.
Yes.
Green Mermaid, everybody knows what it is. Swoosh, everybody knows what it is. So not to say that we're at that level, but to come up with a logo that at some point maybe people go, oh, that's the Boombalattis cones.
Yeah.
And then I'm not very good at digital art. So I had a friend who I actually was his boss at Verizon, oddly enough. And he was really into digital stuff. So he would digitize all of these ideas. And then in 2021, we started doing this artist series stickers where we invited area artists to design stickers, and we paid for their work and made a donation to the charity of their choice. Yep. And that was just honestly, the biggest goal of that was just to put like positivity out in the world after like a year of COVID and everybody's locked up in their houses. Like, how can we get like some fresh art out there? And then the best part for me is artists that I had recognized in Wilmington for a long time were submitting stickers and being like, I really hope you like these. And they'd be like the nicest stickers we'd ever seen.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and people were coming in and buying like a whole set of them, and before that, we didn't even really realize there was a market for that.
Yep.
So that's been really fun.
We always get one when we're here. Our daughters will they will not leave without a sticker. So
I love stickers.
Yeah, we walk by people in the neighborhood next to us, and you see them on coolers and cars and refrigerators and whatever, and so that's really fun to see. I still remember like one of the first times that I saw just the regular basic Boombalattis logo on a car, being so excited in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And people call us.
My kids, all like Boombalattis sticker.
Yeah.
People call us or text us. Like, we had a girl, one of our girls that works for us, sent us a picture on the highway in Chicago of a picture of one of our cousins was in Denmark, and she saw a Boombalatti shirt, which is like just so cool.
Yeah. Let's talk about the swag for a second, because I have a funny story. I got one of these. So there's a lot of swag here, and I love it. Like, there's more than I even recall, especially some of the teeny weeny sizes. But I got one of these. I think I got two of them, one for her and one for me. And I love the colors. I was like, this is bright. It's vibrant. It makes me feel great. And as soon as I put it on, I was like, this smells like ice cream. I'm like, you cannot wash this. Like, it's just like, it's awful to even like get anything on it, because then you're like, I don't want to wash this. It smells like ice cream. But the swag is great. And I think we've gotten a couple more since then, but swag is definitely part of the allure as well. And I think people will ask me at church all the time, like, dude, that's so cool. I'm like, yeah, go there, go.
Well, I joke with Wes all the time that he really wants to run a t-shirt shop, not an ice cream shop. Because like every time I come in his office, there's like more samples, or he's like texting me pictures of stuff. I'm like, dude, where are we gonna put it?
Well, now the cool thing is the artist series stickers have turned into asking some of those artists to make t-shirt designs.
Yes.
So we have at least 3 new shirts this year that are all, 4 that have all been a sticker designer that we've then reached back out to and said, hey, will you design a shirt for us?
That's really interesting because designers or artists who would submit to you to be part of it, you have to have something really special for that to be happening. That's atypical in my opinion. So I think that's really a testament to you guys that people want to be part of it.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
We have a lot of these moments, and sometimes it takes someone pointing it out, because like the first year we were in an all-out sprint forever, and now we're just like, we're mostly sprinting, and sometimes we do have to just stop for a second and be like, wait a minute, like this is crazy. Like what we from 2015 to 2023, like that, you know, that doesn't happen to every business.
Well, yeah, I mean, we had a friend randomly call us and be like, hey, we know you guys mentioned you might at some point want like a bus for the ice cream shop, and I found this one on Craigslist. If you want to go look at it, we're like, what? So that's how we ended up with the Volkswagen bus. We just randomly went and looked at it, and it was like a perfect fit. But we've never marketed that besides handing out some flyers, and it's like blown up. So we're like, oh, that's really amazing that people come. They sometimes come on their first date. They come get engaged here, and then they call us to do their wedding ice cream, and it's like come full circle. Like that's really special. Yeah.
So my question was going to be, we were talking about how special it is that people are like, hey, there's a bus, and then you don't even market the bus, and people are asking about the bus, people are getting engaged. What do you think, in your opinion, is like the secret sauce with Boombalattis? Why is Boombalattis so special? And what do you think they bring to Wilmington, like the Wilmington culture?
I think we focus on two different things: passion and people. So my passion is ice cream. I think my passion is ice cream, business ownership, and marketing. And so if you put those three things together,
Your wife,
my wife and my family. But if you put those three things together, like you can come up with something pretty cool. And in my view, in the ice cream world, there's like 3 big ice cream shops right now. There's one in Portland, Oregon, one in Brooklyn, New York, one in Columbus, Ohio. And there's not like one that could become more of a national brand in the Southeast. So that's where my head is. Like I want to try to hit that. Not saying we will, but you got to have something that you're looking forward to. So that's why we do nationwide shipping. That's why we have so much merch and stickers, and we spend so much time on our website and our Instagram.
Yes.
My hope is somebody who's in Pennsylvania right now, who's planning a trip to Wrightsville Beach for the first time, goes online, follows one of these Wilmington influencer accounts or something, and goes, well, let me check this Boombalattis place out. Perfect. And they're not going to see, and no disrespect, but the typical mom and pop ice cream shop might have delicious ice cream, but it lacks a little bit of that excitement. Where my hope is you see our branding and go, we have to go there. That is a destination place.
Yeah, it's more of an experience.
More of an experience.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that. So if someone's listening or watching and they haven't seen any of the B-roll yet, like what's the environment like when you walk into it? Is it the same at each store?
We're getting closer to mirroring each store.
It's obviously close enough that people think it's a franchise. Often people come in and say, oh, so you, or I say something about it, like, oh, so you own which franchise do you own? We're like, oh, it's not a franchise. We own all of them. They're like, wait, what? So obviously there's some conciseness that people think it's, been branded by some corporation. But we like each one of the shops that we open to have a similar vibe, but have its own little feel, characteristic of its own shop. But the pink color we feel like is soothing but fun, and not the typical green ice cream shop.
So speaking of the vibe, if someone were to walk in for the first time, like what does it feel like? What do they see? What's the vibe like?
So we've spent a lot of time to think through that, and we've renovated our stores to get it to what we want. So the very first thing that you're hopefully going to see is some type of a little bit of a line that we're going to move super fast because we have the best employees in the world. We're very into the soundtrack that we run through the store. So very poppy and energetic music. So it keeps it makes the time go by faster. We're incredibly into our own sort of pink color now and dark grays and the wood tones. And so the idea is the moment you walk in, you're like, oh shoot, like what did we just walk into? And
you will smell waffle cones.
Smell waffle cones.
Waffle cones all day, every day.
We just want energy. The moment you walk in, if you're going to stand in line for 15 minutes,
which we've never had to, by the way. Like it's been busy. You guys are fast. It's good.
We are very. We do have fantastic employees, and so we talk a lot. And we talked about food background. I came up fast food, oddly, like from 16 to 21. I worked in 3 different fast food restaurants, and everything there is down to the second. I think that's been built into my brain some. So I'm very into efficiency and speed, and you shouldn't have to wait 15 minutes for a chicken sandwich.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't feel like you're not coming in here thinking like I'm going to get fast. Like they don't make you feel like if you want 3 samples,
Right.
that's a problem.
Yes.
But they are efficient at being able to grab them and get them to you. And if they need to take the next customer, like working things through. Yeah.
That you've noted that is key for us, and we say that every single person's experience should be a 20-second experience that is just great, and then the next person, like
we talk about that a lot with our employees, that, you know, we are providing not just a good product, we're providing the whole package. And so this might be this person's first time they ever come, it might be the last time, you don't know. They may be having a great day, they're here to celebrate, they might be having a terrible day, and so you want them to walk out of there better than when they came in, because it's ice cream after all.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
So one of my favorite things about this downtown location is the little patio out here. It reminds me of a few places out in California that have like the artificial glass.
Our daughters
and just
love
like it's such a small space, but it just brings so much to the experience.
Yes.
When you bought this, was the patio existing, or is this something that you guys built out?
Oh,
Okay.
gosh.
was it not?
When we bought this place, we'll have to show you some pictures.
Yeah.
It was bad. I mean, it was super overgrown with weeds.
Weeds were like this tall, probably.
And then anything that you think you could find in a downtown overgrown hidden area, we found. And so, but it was weird because this is our smallest shop.
Oh, okay.
And so this was a great way to expand the seating area. And Kristen has an aunt in California.
Yes.
And so we really wanted that sort of a 70s pool vibe. So you got the artificial turf, the old school metal furniture.
That's where this pinky color started coming into play that we found that we loved, was when we started Googling, you know, what can we do to make this look 70s, California-ish.
Palm Springs a little.
Yes.
Yeah. And to talk about sort of the environment. So we just did a renovation here to put a new doorway to help people notice that there is a side yard, because we still have people that will leave. We've had a couple reviews that they'll say, I wish there was outdoor seating.
We're like,
it's like, oh my gosh, we spent so much time and effort on our outdoor seating. But if you go out that way and turn left, you have no idea.
Right, yeah. And we just love that little area. We're actually in the process of renovating our patio at the Forum now to get some new tables and new colors, some freshen it up. So hopefully it will feel a little more like this one. But this one is special to us because it's just different. They're each shop is unique in its own way.
So now we get to talk about what people love the most here. Well, some of the flavors that are kind of just, you're like, man, we need more. We need more. Like, what are some of the most popular ones?
What should people try when they?
Yeah.
My favorite, by far, we just invented last month, Fluffer Nutter Butter, based on the greatest breakfast sandwich of all time. So it's marshmallow peanut butter base, marshmallow sauce, peanut butter sauce, and then for texture, chopped Nutter Butter sandwich cookies, which are the second best cookie next to Oreo. We've had lots of people say that it's one of their favorites.
Yeah.
And it's the only flavor I think I've eaten in the last month, besides just trialing new stuff.
What do you know?
Which I have him on a regimen because he used to like sit in the back with like a whole tub of ice cream when we bought it and eat it. And I'm like, Wes,
I can put away some ice cream.
That's not like, he wouldn't know I was stopping by the shop, and I would like pop the door open to look in the office, and he's like,
not a fresh bucket, just the last quarter inch.
That's the best part.
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little soft. And people are like, do you still like ice cream? I'm like, oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah, he has to really like practice self-restraint when he comes in. But I think the one that people mention to me the most when I'm outside of the shop, if I meet someone and they find out I own it, is coffee cookies and cream. So it's the coffee base with the Oreos and the chocolate sandwich cookies and the chocolate syrup in it. And I love nothing more than chocolate and coffee, so I really love that one.
Yeah.
Right now, I feel like key lime pie is one of the ones that I love because it's starting to get warm and it's, you know, got that citrus and the graham cracker crust. That's one of my favorites.
Super fun one coming up soon. I don't know when this is going to go out, but in the next few weeks, one we've never done before.
Yes, strawberry pretzel pie. So growing up in Pennsylvania, it was like almost every cookout that you went to or a party you went to, someone's grandmother brought this salad. And so it was a pretzel, like cookie crust, and then it had strawberry jello and whipped Cool Whip and strawberries on top. So we made our version of that. And I think it's going to be really, I tasted it. It's really
good.
But the only other thing I want to mention about flavors is just, I know we're in spring now, but the Christmas flavors are epic. So around the holidays, the gingerbread one is my grandmother's gingerbread cookie recipe. Divine. Everybody loves the peppermint. And then we make an eggnog with a local bourbon from End of Days.
Yeah, sometimes
and
people tell us that they
that's
don't
not
eat
all
ice
of them,
cream
but-
in the winter, and we're like, you are missing out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Ants in the snow.
Ants in the snow, yeah.
It's simple, but it is
I know. I
so
love that one too.
good. Dave Matthews is coming
To
when?
Wilmington, yeah. Memorial Day weekend, he's playing 2 shows down here.
Right there.
Yes, it's not crazy.
This
I
has been the
know.
best part of the whole interview.
So supposedly that
I'm so
triangle
bad about
lot,
keeping up with
I
the
think
events.
it's sold out. But
I think it's
Oh,
sold
I'm
out
gonna
within
have to
minutes.
get-
But
there's
that
always-
huge triangle lot that the city's going to
Yeah.
try to put a 90 mil, that's going to be like completely set up for Dave Matthews. I guess they travel with like their own caterers and their own. But so we were like, well, what can we do? We're like,
Yeah.
Ants Marching. We'll bring Ants and Snow back, but call it Ants Marching.
Yes,
So
you're
we'll see if Dave
right.
Matthews walks in. I'm not the biggest
Maybe
fan.
change it
I
up a
won't
little
vote.
bit.
Me
Well,
either. Me either, to be
I'm
honest.
from Virginia, and the group it's like I feel like a lot of people from Virginia, if you're in a certain suburban area, like you just
sure.
have to. and
know
that was
you're
my first concert I ever went to
Okay,
as
that's a
well.
big
So it's like kind of a
Yeah, that's for sure.
he'll always
Just
have a
thought
little
of
place in my heart, even though I don't listen to him a whole lot. It's just like going back to a concert brings back so many
Yeah,
memories.
concerts are
that.
fun, yeah.
For sure.
With all the flavors, I'm going to encourage, if you're listening or watching, to like just tag them with a flavor that you may have dreamed up in your head and then see if it's even possible. Doing that for engagement, of course.
Yeah, sure.
But anyway, so if you have some flavor ideas, send them over to them. I have one final question. I think we're going to wrap after this, but like the Boombox, like, so you just mentioned shipping, and I saw on the website, Boombox, I love the website, by the way, like it looks super fresh. I think it's kind of had a bunch of work since I remember it from a long time ago, but what's the Boombox and what can people expect with that?
And real quick before she speaks on that, just
Yeah.
to our girl that helps with our website, Jenny,
Yeah.
she it's not what is it? I always get it messed up.
It's me creative.
Yes, she's
No, it's
fantastic.
you
Okay.
creative. It's not me, it's you. You
Yes.
creative.
You creative?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
her name is Jenny Yarbrough, and I don't know when she sleeps because she just has ideas
Wow.
floating out of her head all the time that she's sending our way. And
Nice.
also our photographer, Matt Ray, both
Yeah.
of them combined are like the dream team.
I love his stuff.
And that's another lesson on collaboration. Find the people who are
Yes.
experts. And then a third is Creature Theory, which is a branding company in Wilmington in the cargo district. So they designed the Boombox for us, and they designed all of our custom pints. And that was based in 2020. We had all these customers who would come to Wrightsville Beach once a year, but weren't able to come on vacation. So they would reach out and say, can you ship ice cream? And at that point, we couldn't, but that was the catalyst to us figuring out, okay, how do you do this? So we designed a custom box. Inside is a cooler.
Yep.
And then it's 6 pints, any of the pints that we're scooping, about 10 pounds of dry ice, and it comes to you in 2 days.
What?
So we can anywhere, from Seattle to the Panhandle of Florida. I mean, anywhere across the country, we can get you ice cream that is still frozen 2 days later, right to your front door.
Perfect.
You just go to boombalattis.com, and it should be super simple. Send your best friend a box.
Yeah.
perfect for your parents that you've been buying gifts for your whole life, and you're like, what are we gonna send them this year?
This is perfect. I can send my clients.
Yeah.
I'll say, if you're still working in corporate America like I was, the perfect end of the year gift for your team across that are spread out working from home.
Wilmington, so we try to ask everybody, why Wilmington?
Oh, right.
Like, why
It's a
would
fun
you have
one.
a business in Wilmington?
Well, I decided after I'd been dating Wes for like 6 months that I didn't want to live in Pennsylvania anymore. It was freezing cold. I hate the cold. I love the sun.
Yes.
And I was like, after I convinced him, hey, move to where I'm living in Pennsylvania, because we were driving 4 hours every weekend. He moves there, and then I'm like, yeah, I really don't want to live here. He's like, what?
I just signed a
I
6-month
literally
lease.
just moved here. I was like, yeah, I know, but it's so cold. So Wes was like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to move to the beach. I always, my whole life, wanted to move to the beach. My aunt lived in Daytona growing up, and I lived landlocked in Pennsylvania. So he was like, well, let's move to the beach. And I was like, well, wait, like now?
And I was like, no, in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's like, no, how about like 2 weeks? I like started doing some research, but we'd never been here before.
No, we literally picked it off of a map.
Yeah, we'd
And so
never
the
been here.
first time we got to Wilmington, we had a truck with all of our belongings towing our car. It's the biggest circle on the coast in North Carolina. That's how we picked it, because we wanted a big enough city where we could find jobs. At that time, social work and paralegal.
There was a river and a beach, which we thought was probably cool.
Yeah.
And so we just did it.
Yeah. So
And that was 2003, and we fell in love with the town. And the transformation Wilmington's made from 2003 to 23 has just been unbelievable. I mean, restaurants and distilleries and breweries, and
All of that.
still have the river walk and the beach. It's the perfect town.
I love it.
And so what keeps you here? Is it the local feel about all the, it's not a bunch of chains. It's a lot of local things that make it Wilmington, right? You can't get in
Yes.
other places.
I think that's probably my favorite part. Like we do have some chains, but it seems like for the most part, when you see a building, you know, when the dumpster gets delivered and you're like, they're doing something over there, it's like 9 times out of 10, it's some local family that's going to do something
100%.
cool. It's not, you know, at PF Chang's or something.
Yeah.
So the amount of local businesses that we can go to, it's literally endless. Like we feel bad sometimes. Somebody will be like, have you gone to such and such yet? And we're like, oh my gosh, no, because it's our 300th delicious restaurant that's on our list.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But we also like our friends love to like harass us because if something new is open or there's some place new to go to, we'll be the first to go there. Or they'll be like, where are y'all going tonight? We're like, oh, we're going downtown. Like some of our friends live in Porter's Neck. They're like, you're going to go all the way downtown?
Yeah.
We're like, we only go downtown. If you want to find something fun, you need to go to Cargo or Southfront or somewhere down here. And a lot of our really good friends are people who own breweries and businesses down here. So yeah, our kids, we're in real trouble. We've really created some little foodies and it's not good for the wallet.
So
Or
last
you wanna
couple
eat like Seabird. Like,
Yeah, we're trying to go for lunch. Bento box. I was like, no, I don't think we're going
It's
to
not your
bento.
birthday.
last couple of questions. So
I mean that because that was kind of the lead in.
Yeah, go ahead.
You talked about some really awesome places that you guys go. If you were going to give a recommendation for somebody coming to Wilmington, what are some other places they should check out? And it could be a restaurant, it could be a activity, it could be whatever. But what are a couple
Oh gosh,
recommendations?
it's such a hard question.
I know.
So many.
I know.
That's
Maybe just
fine.
what's on your mind now.
yeah, what comes to mind?
If you only have like a day or two, I think the Cargo District is a super cool place, and you can get to so many fun, privately owned, family owned businesses in a
Yeah,
3
you
or
could
4
even
block
stay in an
thing.
Airbnb in there now.
Yeah.
We stayed in an Airbnb for our anniversary down there. It was really cool.
Yeah, which was a cargo thing.
Mhm.
Huh.
Yes. Wes would eat a cheeseburger at mess hall every day of his life.
Not been there.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, mess hall's on my
Mess
list.
Hall and
Yes.
Grimburger, those burgers both
They're
top of
delicious.
my list.
Yeah.
We really like the South Front, like Block Taco, Satellite, New
Second time
Anthem,
that's come up.
Benny's.
I would eat block taco every day of my life.
Yeah, she
Literally.
sent me
they
their-
just said
Alright.
that too.
They're doing
I
like a
guess
10
Block
taco
Taco.
pack
Yeah.
for like special days, and we're like, can we
my-
just?
Cinco de Mayo, y'all should
Yeah,
get
we
that.
should.
Yeah.
Oh, why not?
They have a mushroom taco that is to die for. You don't miss the meat at all. It's so
Really?
good. And their
Yeah.
nachos, you can't miss the nachos.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Manna is a great
Yes,
place.
yes, we love Manna.
Yes, for a special occasion. It's delicious. Everything that they're doing. They just started doing a bunch of pop-up events also that are really great.
Cool.
We do love Seabird. Dean Neff is killing it over there. That one is great.
Catch seafood to
Catch.
catch.
Mhm.
And then you got to go to the Arboretum, which is free, and you can walk through. You go through Airlie Gardens.
Yeah.
Yes, our kids love
Um,
Early Gardens.
Same.
Riverwalk is amazing. I mean, there's lots of fun things to do just outside.
Yeah.
So
And then last thing is, please tell us your locations again, and then like where people should follow you, whether that's Insta, Facebook, or anything like that.
So 3 locations, Military Cutoff. That's
Okay.
where we make everything. That's the foreign location. That's where our kitchen is and our brand new retail space that we opened downtown in the Brooklyn Arts District on North 4th.
Okay.
Hampstead, which I guess now is like a suburb of Wilmington on 17. That's our 3rd shop.
Yeah.
And then the best way to follow us, where most of my content goes, is on Instagram. So
Nice.
at Boombalattis. We
And the
share most of
stories.
that on Facebook,
Yeah.
and then boombalattis.com for
Yeah.
the web.
I saw you making falafel while I was laughing about it. I was
So
like,
good.
what? I don't even know what that is, but
And I was like, oh, you made dinner once?
One
Like, the
time.
last 7
Tell
months,
the story.
and you Instagrammed it? Like,
Yeah.
that's so nice.
You got to
of you.
flex.
I was like, if you're going to make dinner, like, you can make dinner more, and I'll let you Instagram it. Like, go for
I'm
it.
going to be one of them food Instagrammers now.
well, we cannot thank you both enough. If you are listening or watching, I hope you are convinced that you cannot pass up Boombalattis if you haven't thought about it or been here yet. And if you have been here, then obviously continue to come because this is one of the best spots in Wilmington.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. We
Really
appreciate
awesome.
it.
Yep.
Yeah,
This was
it's been
fun.
fun.